Do I look tense?
No.
Do I look tense? Please forgive the lighting. We are at the mercy of the sun and it is very cloudy today, so, you know. Hi everyone, happy Monday and welcome back to Snoozy Snippets. Clearly I have not been living up to my promise of uploading every day or every other day because, well, as always, I have massively overestimated my energy. So, yeah, it will realistically probably be a lot more sporadic than I originally planned, but hopefully we're going to get through this. We're going to get through this series, mostly because I am really, really sick of talking about COVID. Aren't we all? Like, at this point, isn't it kind of like a horrible panicky topic? We are going to be continuing our pandemic parenting series today with a video about low energy parenting. When I say low energy parenting, I mean really low energy parenting. I mean when you can't get out of bed for several days in a row, or maybe even at all. Some of this advice could also be really helpful to you if you are a person who is normally healthy but currently has COVID or the flu. The first thing we're going to talk about is the topic of meeting their needs. Obviously, when taking care of kids, the first thing you're going to worry about is how do I keep them, like, you know, alive, which is a good question, and I will let you know when I have come up with a reliable way of doing it. For the time being, meeting their basic needs when you can't get out of bed.
Terrifying.
So the first thing is keeping them fed. What we do with the kitten is we pack her a little lunch every day. Now, what we include in this is not just the food that she needs for lunch. We include all of the food that she'll need from the time that Will leaves to the time that Will comes home. This means that if I'm having a really bad day, I don't have to get out of bed and go and get her food. This lunchbox is left in a place that she can reach, that she can access. It's simple enough to open. That's one thing, if you're buying a lunchbox, you really have to make sure of, that the child can actually open it. She can take out the little bits of food, she can feed herself, and it also gives her a little kind of sense of independence that she really enjoys. If you like, you can also get a lunchbox for yourself, which I would really recommend, especially if you're in bed for longer periods of time, because it's just really handy to not have to constantly ask someone to go and get your food all the time, or have to get out of bed and use precious energy to go all the way downstairs and into the kitchen. Just make sure that those boxes look different so that your toddler won't accidentally get your box instead of theirs. The next thing is about keeping them hydrated. If you are bedbound, even just for one day, you probably can't carry large amounts of water up and downstairs and around the house. We have about 1 million of these glass 500ml water bottles that we got on All Pack. Every day that Will's not here, he will bring up in the morning about 6 or 7 of these and leave them beside the bed. Caitlin has one of these charming reusable coffee cups, and because it has a lid, it's safe enough that she can walk around the house with it without spilling it everywhere, but also if she prefers to drink from just a normal cup, she has that option. So basically she comes to me in bed and she asks, "Mummy, can I have some more water?" And I just fill it up for her. It means that she always has access to water and always has access to fluids without me having to move around the house, or without her having to have about 50 sippy cups all around the place. The last thing involved in their basic needs is hygiene, which if your kids are potty trained, the one bit of advice I would give you is to make sure that your kids are going to the bathroom at the same time you are. So literally, even if they don't need to go, just make sure they sit on that potty, or I want to be really clear here because I have a lisp. I am saying sit with an S and not a different word. Trying then going to the bathroom at the same time you do just means that it cuts down on your movement and you're getting out of bed, and therefore your energy use. If your child is not yet potty trained, then I think it's really important to make sure that whatever nappies, wipes and changing like mat that you're using to change them is available not to necessarily to you but to them. Because if you try to keep everything all around you in the bed, you're going to end up completely surrounded by stuff, and you won't be able to move. You also won't be able to reach any of the things that you so helpfully put nearby. Instead, make sure these things are accessible to your toddler. Make sure that they can then go and get them themselves and bring them to you when they need them. If they're not yet potty trained, they'll likely be very uncomfortable if they had used their nappy, so they'll be willing to play along. Now moving on to entertainment. The simplest trick to entertaining your child from bed is basically to make sure that the bed is just like any other area in the house. It's very tempting when you're not feeling very well to separate your bed from your living space, but when you're living in your bed, you need to make sure that your children see your bed as just another living space too. So to do this, I have a couple of things. Firstly, take advantage of their imaginations, because Their imaginations are infinite and they will take you places that you never expected to go. You can lie while they play an imagination game with their dolls. I'm just stretching. The other day the kitten came in here. I was having a really low energy day and I was lying on my back. She decided that my knees were mountains, my belly was a hill, and that the floor was a river. And this was the game. She brought in her dolls and they were falling in the river and we were helping them and we were using the little dog to rescue everyone. And if you feel self-conscious about them being in your bed, they're going to feel self-conscious too. They're less likely to kind of take the reins and really go with it. So they have an awful lot more fuel than you do, and if your tank is running on empty, you're going to need them to take the lead and run the game. Next thing, in the spirit of keeping your bed as being just another area of the house and just another play area, I like to use simple things like laptop tables, or even a large chopping board.
Perfect.
As a surface to do your ordinary arts and crafts and whatever you would normally do downstairs. If you can get a large enough surface area, you can also use it for puzzles and other games as well. Alright. Lastly, one of the really good things that certain companies have been doing, for example Audible, is they have been putting an awful lot of children's books online for free. This can be really helpful if you're lying in bed and you don't quite have the energy to read with your kids. If you have the energy to read with your kids, that's an excellent way of obviously doing an activity with them in bed. There's a lot of really good stuff on there. Go check it out and see if some of your kids' favourites are on there. Failing that, you can check out podcasts or YouTube. I mean, it's a little bit less licensed, but like, what are you going to do? It can be really nice just to sit on the bed and read along with your child with the audiobook playing. It also means that you're not using energy talking, if that's something that takes a lot of energy for you, like it does for me. If you can't find your kids' favourites, then what you could do is, if you have a little bit more energy at some stage, record yourself reading it, or have an able-bodied loved one record them for you. If you're a little bit hard of hearing, this can also be useful because you could put in something very high-pitched or low-pitched, depending on where you hear best, that can signify to you to turn the page. For the same purpose, I would also recommend books that have been made into films, like for example a lot of Julia Donaldson's work, which the kitten is very fond of. If you have any further ideas, please put them down below in the comments, and that's all from me. I'm exhausted and I'm going to go and rest now. Look after yourselves, look after each other, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Ow. That hurt both my hands and my ears.